Hello, welcome to the Basketball Soapbox. I am your host, Dan Daly. This is my second attempt at recording this. We had a little problem where I didn't hit the record button earlier, so I wasted a little bit of time there. But actually, I got to see the Celtics and Suns game go off, and that was a fantastic game as a Celtics fan. But moving on, this episode, welcome to the quarter season awards by the Basketball Soapbox. I'll be going over the MVP award, Defensive Player of the Year, Most Improved, Sixth Man of the Year, Rookie of the Year, and finally Coach of the Year in these award videos. Just touching base on it, but let's get into it. I'm already running late. It's already early in the morning. Let's start off with the MVPs. There are a lot of guys that are in consideration this year. Luka Doncic, Steph Curry, uh, Nikola Jokic, Jayson Tatum, Jayson Tatum, multiple guys that are there in consideration this quarter, playing really, really well in the quarter into the season. And looking at this here, we can just share this right now. Seeing what I had at the preseason versus what I have now. Earlier on, I had Joel Embiid finishing first because I thought they were going to come in with the gangbusters, and Joel Embiid playing off last season, especially after they went out, having time in the offseason to get back with James Harden, with Tyrese Maxey. I just thought they were just going to be on the tear and be able to get a good start to the season. Injury to James Harden, we don't know when he's going to come back. I believe he has an ankle injury or something like that. Tyrese Maxey has also gotten hurt, and it's just Joel Embiid trying to carry these guys right now. But the record right now is not really good, so I couldn't have him in the top three for MVP this year so far to start the season. Second, I have Giannis Antetokounmpo with my preseason pick. He's on par with that. I'll get into that. And Jayson Tatum is finishing third, but as you can see there, Jayson Tatum is my first pick for MVP so far to start the season. Had a great night tonight. On the season, averaging 30 points per game, nearly 5 assists a game, nearly 9 rebounds, and a block per game this season. And just seeing the growth that he had, of course, with all the uncertainty with Ime Udoka in the offseason, how they finished the finals last year, his performance last year in the finals, everyone kind of questioning him like, oh, did they finally get to Tatum? Is this a roadblock in his game now? And he heard all the criticism, and even in the offseason when people were talking about him in terms of partying and looking like he's not as committed and looking like he's not as focused. And he said in interviews, I just wanted to get away for a little bit, which NBA players are allowed to do, especially when you get a deep playoff run like that. I can see wanting to get away, wanting to work on your game in private, and he has done that with his play so far this season, especially getting to the basket, finishing through contact, little things like that, doing down screens for teammates, little different offensive actions to not have everything in his hands all the time as an ISO ball player, moving the ball, moving without the ball especially. But his ability to get to the basket, score from 3 areas of the floor, shooting the ball really well, getting to the line, finishing through contact at the rim. All these little things are adding up as positive dividends for the Boston Celtics. They're first in the league. Had a big game tonight against the Phoenix Suns, a blowout win against them tonight. He is playing fantastic. He's the leader of this team along with Jaylen Brown and Marcus Smart and all these other guys. Al Horford as the elder statesman. And they're following Tatum's lead, and they're really going after it. And especially after last season, how it ended there in the finals, you're seeing this progression through this team with Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum, and especially with Jayson Tatum, especially after last year, seeing his growth and seeing how determined he is to start the season. You can see it in the play. He's my pick for the quarter season MVP so far. At number 2, I have Giannis Antetokounmpo. Of course, we know what Giannis is like. He's going to fill up the stat sheet. He's going to get you 30 and 15 a night. he's getting what? Nearly 30 points a game. 11 rebounds, nearly 6 assists a game, and a block. His defense is taking a little bit of a backseat because he had to carry a little bit more of the offense with Drew Holiday out for an extended period of time. Chris Middleton just returned, for, I think, last week against the Lakers for the first time this season. So he's been able to carry a lot of the offensive load along with Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis and just the other guys on the Milwaukee Bucks who aren't the big three of their franchise right now. And Giannis is carrying that load. That's not going to be an issue for Giannis. He's going to be able to fill up the stat sheet, lead by example, and just be a physical presence and dominate. And everyone's saying he has to be able to shoot and do all these other things. But the way their team is set up, where Bobby Portis who can play inside and out, Brook Lopez who can play inside and out and really stretch the floor at times. Giannis is able to get in there and still be able to be a beast in the paint. That's not going to change. and that's why I have him at number 2. They have the second best record in the league, I believe. And just really, it's just Giannis. People had voter fatigue the past couple of years saying, oh, well, he's just doing the same thing. This is the same. It's boring. And it's very weird that even with the Joker, Nikola Jokic of Denver, people are sitting there got voter fatigue. Like, what is that? Like, guys are playing great. Respect that they're playing great. Doesn't matter how many times they won MVP or an award or whatever the case would be. If this person is having a sustained level of excellence, they should be in that conversation always. Those numbers aren't there. Their play isn't there anymore. And I think that's just something that the NBA has to really, the media, whatever it is, people who vote have to get out of that logic because Giannis is playing great. And just because he's putting up the same numbers and playing as well as he has in his career so far, I don't think that should be that shouldn't result in voter fatigue or looking at him negatively or saying, hey, I want to vote for somebody else. If he's playing great, damn it. We got to acknowledge that. And that's what I did for Giannis, is him playing great. At number 3, I'm kind of conflicted. I had Devin Booker there because I'm trying to reward him for navigating the Suns through this difficult period in their franchise with Robert Sarver in the offseason, the whole deal with Monty Williams and DeAndre Ayton, Chris Paul going down, Cam Johnson going down, and just keeping the Suns afloat over that period of time. He's playing great this season, nearly 30 points a game, nearly 6 assists, 5 rebounds a game, and a steal a game. He's leading it with his offense. He's holding them accountable, but it's like these last 2 blowouts, one against Dallas and then tonight against Boston. It's like, do I really want to put him at 3? Just those. And it wasn't like a Tatum game that Tatum had a bad game against, I believe, Miami last week, and then I think he had another one against Chicago. But in terms of bad games, Devin Booker has looked bad in these 2 games, but I'm not really helping his case here, and I was considering taking him out. But it's like, you want to know what? I already have him there. They're second in the West now, behind the Pelicans. I'll get into that later. But I just respect the way that he's leading that team and carrying them through that turmoil a little bit earlier to start the season and how that's going. It's like this guy's able to score with the best in the NBA, and that's anybody. He's nearly at 30 points a game. He can arguably be one of the leading scorers throughout the season. His play has grown as well, and it seems like he wants to take another step up. And it's just a shame that these past couple games where they have struggled and he's looked bad, really not helping me having at 3. And people are going to kill me for that, but it's fine. It's whatever. Looking at other candidates, Steph Curry, who has the highest, I think, on-court, off-court differential in the league so far. I think it's at like 15 or something like that. Just to think about what Steph Curry is doing at 34 years old, scoring at a high level, and it's like you're wondering what direction the Warriors are going to go with those young guys in terms of Jameis Wiseman, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody. You're wondering what direction they're going to go with those guys, because it's like you don't want to waste this great year that Steph is having. You can add a championship rather than waiting to see if these 3 guys are going to pan out or whatever the case may be, especially with Wiseman. People are saying trade him to San Antonio. Other teams should take a flyer on him. Golden State should be able to do that and just to get some bench help for this Warriors team, because I think they have the best starting 5 in the NBA, points-wise, plus minus-wise, whatever the case may be. They play the best, and then when they go to the bench, they go to the Jordan Poole, who's not having a great season so far this year, especially struggling defensively. Same with Klay Thompson. They're trying to find their footing playing together and stuff like that. Andrew Wiggins is having a solid season again. You're just wondering what the move is with the Warriors regarding Curry, but it's just like their record right now. I can't put him in that MVP conversation. He's playing fantastic. He's going to be the starter in the All-Star game. He's that dude. We know who Steph Curry is, but in terms of MVP, just because of where his team is, I'm not sure I can put him in that conversation right now. Moving on to Nikola Jokic in Denver. I believe he's averaging like 22 points. I think 12 rebounds, something like that. He's up there in rebounds and assists, doing his normal thing. Just that his play, he's not taking a lot of shots. Even the game the other night against Dallas, he wasn't taking a lot of shots. I think he only had like 4 points in the second half. He put it on late, But it's just like, like he's not. I think he's just trying to fine tune with those guys. Jamal Murray coming back, who's been struggling, trying to come back. Michael Porter Jr. But that team overall is that you can see you can see how it's brewing in Denver in terms of guys getting used to playing with each other in terms of KCP and Bruce Brown, who has been a great addition for them so far this season. He's definitely in consideration. I want to see his points total go up and him be a little bit more aggressive. He's going to be the leader of that team. You got to be aggressive for your franchise and your guys night to night. I know what he's doing. He's getting other guys involved, getting their confidence up. So when they do need him to score, when he needs to score and he's getting pressured, he can find those guys a little bit more confidently heading into the postseason, getting doubled, dealing with those situations. He's trying to get those guys. I understand what he's trying to do. Moving on, who else is in consideration? Luka Doncic, who I had just outside of 3. He's playing fantastic, leading the league in scoring, nearly averaging a triple-double. I think he's around 8 assists, 8 rebounds a game, keeping Dallas afloat with Christian Wood. You can see that team kind of coming together with Tim Hardaway Jr., who I'm like, he's been off and on, with injuries and stuff like that, Spencer Dinwiddie and stuff like that, and these guys here. And the Mavericks continue to fool me because I don't know how they would defensively. You don't think of their team as guys who are great defensively. Dorian Finney-Smith is the only guy that I think that pops out to me defensively that's like good on that end of the floor. But you look at a team, they're one of the top 10 teams out of the past years. Since Jason Kidd has been continuously do it offensively. For the Dallas Mavericks, he has to be in consideration. But right now, I can't put him there again because of record. But overall, I think Jayson Tatum has a strong case to start the season as the MVP candidate, as the leader right now at the Boston Celtics. I questioned somebody who said, somebody who said they're going to win 60 games this year. And I just didn't think of that. With the coaching change, with Ime Udoka to Joe Mazzulla, I didn't know how fast that would happen. I had the Celtics around 50 wins. And to see them play this way, especially offensively, led by Jayson Tatum, 60 wins is not out of the question. 60 wins is definitely on the table. Like, that's definitely one of the greatest teams of all time. Territory. I'm not calling the Celtics that. Their offense is already highest rated. I think they're at 120, whatever the case may be. Whatever that rating is, how they rate teams in terms of how good they are offensively, they're the best all time right now. So far, a quarter way into the season. And just to think about that and the potential of their offense and then winning 60 games on top of that, that's insane. Like, that's really insane to think about. That this team that battled back from the finals and to start the season like this, kind of reminiscent of the Spurs in 2014, where they had tough finals loss, and to turn it around and start the season like that, you can see the difference in Tatum. You can see the difference in Brown. You can see the difference in the Boston Celtics right now, and they don't have Time Lord back yet. So that's a very great feeling as a Boston Celtics fan to see that Tatum lead the charge and kind of take that challenge and say, I know I struggled last year. I went into offseason, worked on some things, and I'm better now. And you can see that transition on the court. That's why I have an MVP to start the season.